Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Thank you for joining us on New Life Live, whether on terrestrial radio, Sirius XM satellite radio, online, podcast, YouTube, NRB TV. We're like everywhere. I'm Brian Perez, and no matter who you are, we are here to help. Married or single, kids or no kids, older, younger, somewhere in between. You might even be a pastor, Sunday school teacher, a chaplain like we had yesterday on the program. Please pick up the phone. 1-800-229-3000 is the number, and we're going to be here for 2 hours. And here to give you great counsel and advice, we've got the dynamic duo of licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris. How are you, Jacqui?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. And we've also got clinical psychologist, Dr. Alice Benton. What's new with you, Alice? What's on your mind?
Dynamic duo. I've been called worse. I don't know if I've been called better, so I'll take that.
I'll take it. Yes.
It's a good thing.
Yes.
What's on my mind is the power of words.
I broke my leg. Help me. Yeah. They're calling to say something happened to me 30 years ago and it's still hurting me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People that continuously do it. But we've also all been on the speaker end of careless and useless words. And so I want to call us all to that attention of, have we done the repair work, the confession work? Have we checked on our listeners to say, how did it affect you when I said that? And can I make it up to you? Can I have a redo? Can I rebuild trust with you? Jacqui, I think the majority of my therapeutic work I do has to do with the damage done by words spoken, especially within families.
I would absolutely agree with that. I call myself a translator because mostly I'm trying to take what someone has said that was hurtful and translate it so that the other person can hear it and receive it so that we can get the need met. But so often we're trying to convey our message with such force that we don't think about how damaging it is. I tell people, don't throw daggers, because sometimes those words are daggers that we're throwing. And we take things that people share with us and then throw it back in their faces sometimes, and it's really hard to overcome.
I think most of the time it's not malicious. Mm-hmm. I think it's a reactivity born from hurt.
I agree.
But it sure comes across as malicious nonetheless.
Yep.
And so you who have said careless words along with me, let's do the repair work. And to those who have been hurt by careless words, let's get the help we need so that we don't carry the burden of the bitterness.
Yep, we can do that for the next 2 hours here on New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. Maybe it's words that your father said to you, Father's Day coming up this weekend, or that you said to your father. Maybe there's an estrangement going on. Let's talk about it today. Something else coming up on the calendar, Friday the 13th. Do you have fears, phobias, dislikes? Let's talk about that too. 1-800-229-3000 is our number, and we can't wait to talk to you here on New Life Live.
I went to Every Man's Battle in 2012. My sexual integrity was not what it should have been. I sought out affairs, whether physical or emotional. Until I came to Every Man's Battle, I didn't understand that would never fill that void.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
The shame and guilt was overwhelming.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
You will discover what the true root of your pain is, and you will discover how to overcome.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Dallas, Texas, July 18th through the 20th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
Every Man's Battle saved my life.
1-800-NEWLIFE and the discount code NLL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
If you're looking for the perfect gift for someone, might I suggest the newlife.com store. We've got books and Bibles, devotionals, CDs. Check it out at the newlife.com store. And let's go to the phones now, beginning with Tammy in Philadelphia, listening on WFIL. Welcome to New Life Live, Tammy.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you for calling in today.
Thank you. I was actually listening in, and it's like you teed up my call. First of all, Friday the 13th is my birthday, so yay.
Well, early happy birthday.
There. Thank you. Secondly, I'm calling because I am in a situation where I am, I think, in the beginning of an estranged relationship with my father. And also, we have a PSA against my ex-husband because there was an incident with him and our daughter. So we have been distanced from there. And my father essentially was like, I'm making a big deal of it, minimize the situation, but there's safety issues. So I've created distance from both so my daughter could heal and so I could process because I left for abuse, and so my son could process. And with Father's Day coming up, I'm trying to figure out the most God-honoring way to still respect and honor them as the fathers in our lives, but not necessarily open a door to a relationship.
Yeah.
Tammy, it makes no worldly sense whatsoever for you to be calling in and asking that question. But it makes a whole lot of spiritual sense. And so I honor that you're asking it. It's kind of a shocking question, though, given what you have been going through with both of those men. What compels you to still want to honor them?
Jesus, honestly. Every day I pray for their healing. Every day I pray for my healing, my children's healing. And it's just, that's really it.
And have they shown any signs of repentance, moving towards safety, getting help?
Unfortunately, they don't see the problem. So
they're still in denial.
There's the rub. Yeah.
Wow. Jacqui?
Send them a card. They make cards now that are not just over the top sentimental and super mushy, but that just, talk of respect and wanting to acknowledge someone. I do a lot of couples therapy, and so sometimes people come up on their anniversaries and they're not in a place where they really want to give that person that sweet, super mushy card. But there are cards out there that you can get that just acknowledges the relationship as a way of saying, I see you and I want to honor you, but also I'm not going to be spending time with you this year. But that you still get the chance to acknowledge it is Father's Day. You are the fathers in our life, and we do want to say Happy Father's Day. And so personally, I would simply send a card.
Tammy, is there one statement of genuine gratitude that you have for either of those men for one good thing they did?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Would you tell us one?
Both of them really worked with the best that they had to make sure that they stayed in our lives and poured into our lives. in order to set us up for good situations. So they both worked really hard, but they sometimes act or speak out of their pain. But yes, there are a ton of good things I could say.
You have a lot of grace and mercy, and I really think you're balancing out grace and truth well and figuring out what level of distance you and your kids need from them, but you don't want to completely cut off all contact or all relationship, and you want to figure out how to treat them in a Christian way. I give you my praise. I think you're doing a beautiful job in a very tough situation. So often when we're hurt significantly, like you and your kids have been, the perpetrator becomes all bad. But it's hardly ever true that they're all bad. They could have been horrendous, and at times their actions, their behavior was all bad. But people are usually still a mix of some good. And you can see that in these men, even though they've done so much harm. I think it makes it much more likely that they might come to repentance because God is channeling grace, but truth as well, through you to them.
Jacqui?
Amen.
I would just say it takes a very willing heart to be as generous as you're being, and to be mindful of what it would feel like to those men to not hear from you all on Father's Day. And so I agree with Alice. I just want to encourage you and just send some light and love your way as you're navigating this journey with your kids, and also still trying to honor these men in your life who have also hurt you.
Jacqui, I think when we receive unmerited love in the middle of our ugliness, I think that has the best chance at bringing us into salvation and humility and repentance. There's no guarantee that it will. But, oh gosh, when I think about when I received forgiveness when I didn't deserve it, and I knew I was wrong, and I knew I had made a mess. These men may not know it yet because they're still in denial. But I don't think anything feels more grace-filled when you're pulled up out of your mess by your own victim who is still choosing to love you and honor you. Ugh.
Yep.
It's God's kindness that leads us to repentance, but I guess it could be the kindness of God through us when people see that too. But yeah, Tammy, man, that is...
I was thinking about a book for her, Good Boundaries and Goodbyes.
Oh, that's good.
I don't think we have that in the store right now. We do have Boundaries. We also have Making Peace with Your Father. I don't know if either of those would work, but Tammy, we so appreciate your phone call today. So many people, I'm sure, heard what you just said, and they're wondering, how does Tammy do it? But I'm sure Tammy's answer would be the same one she gave us when we asked her earlier, and Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Amen.
Tammy, have you ever read Boundaries?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's part of the reason I have them.
Okay, yes.
So it's working.
You use your tools. Yes, I love
I'm
that.
using the tools.
She read the book,
Very
she
difficult
underlined,
to
she
do.
highlighted, and she's putting it into practice.
Then can we send her How We Love?
Okay, we'll send you How We Love. Thank you for calling in today, Tammy. Stay on hold, and we'll send you a copy of that book, which is also available for purchase on the newlife.com store. Hey, if you don't have plans for this Friday afternoon, you do now. And if you do have plans, cancel them, because you won't want to miss our friend Laura Mangan McDonald, who will be live on our Facebook page, diving into what happens when the sexual relationship with your spouse becomes basically just, well, as Laura puts it, a holy hookup, devoid of any genuine connection. Sex is meant to be a sacred bond within marriage, but it won't be if you're not feeling emotionally safe. Register for this free event happening this Friday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on our Facebook page. It's not going to be on the radio. It's only going to be on our Facebook page. And if you would like to ask Laura a question, you can submit it ahead of time on Facebook. Visit the New Life Ministries Facebook page for more details about, here's the name of it, Holy Hookups, Myths, Masks, and Marriage Wounds. Check it out this Friday.
Brian, that will be really impactful. I hear from so many women who want to be good Christian wives, but their husbands regularly verbally mistreat them. And so their hearts are just trampled on. And it's hard to open your body, let yourself be sexually open to a person who mistreats you. And so ladies, if you have that kind of situation in question, please attend. But also, we talk with men, Jacqui, who will say, no, I'm married, I'm faithful to you, and yet you're not sexually open to me. Why not? Aren't you supposed to be? Aren't we supposed to take care of each other this way? please attend this. You'll get your answers.
Yep. It's this Friday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you can't be there right at 3, we are going to archive it later so you can watch it then. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us today. And like I said earlier, we're also taking questions on, Friday the 13th, phobias, fears, dislikes, things of that nature. What would you ladies say is the difference between just a fear of something, and then when does it become a phobia, where you're like afraid of the number 13 or specifically Friday the 13th, or what would you guys say?
Well, I think it becomes a phobia when it starts to impact your life in negative ways. And so I am afraid of spiders. I don't like them at all. I don't understand their existence. Just why?
That'll be your first question when you meet the Lord, right?
Why spiders?
Yes.
But there was a time where I felt very afraid of spiders. And so, like, if I saw one, I would cry. I've jumped out of a car. I've thrown a car in park while driving and jumped out of it because there was a spider coming down. Like, my brain just said, get out. And so I got out. So I had to do work so that I actually could not get back in my car. Ooh. Like, someone had to, move my car out of the way so everybody else could go to work because I was blocking the way. Because I was so, I don't know. My husband's like, it's not going to pick you up and carry you away. It's a spider. What is the problem? But I've had a spider in my bed as a child bite me. Ooh. And so now I have this, what I don't think is a irrational fear, but it comes up irrationally at times where it's unnecessary. And so that phobia might have kept me from doing some things. Like, I don't camp. Why would I sleep outside? But I camped once and I woke up and there was spiders everywhere. So I'm not going to do that again. So it's starting to impact my life. There are certain things that I won't do because of this phobia of spiders and large bodies of water. I hate large bodies of water, but I've done work. It's more than a fear. It's something that happens in my mind that says I'm unsafe and I'm going to die. And that is different than, there are things like, I don't want to run into a bear, right? That would cause fear in me, but I don't have a phobia. I would not go on hikes because I'm afraid that there are bears around. However, if we're in Hawaii, I'm probably not going to go on hikes because they have really big spiders. And the last time I went on a hike in Hawaii, the spiders just got lower and lower and lower and lower down in the trees. And so it can start to affect one's life. If someone has like a agoraphobia, they won't leave their house because there's this idea that you're so unsafe you could die. And it creates kind of a panic inside. Whereas a typical fear, it might be related to something that has happened. So you have some historical data that this thing isn't safe, and so I'm not going to do it. But when it becomes a phobia, we need to do some work, and because it can be really life limiting and cause someone to live inside of a box to try to avoid whatever that thing is that they're afraid of.
Right.
There was a time where I wouldn't swim, and I still don't do pool parties because people like to throw people in pools. That's ridiculous, but that's how I grew up. But I've gone on cruises with friends, but it took a lot of work. My husband and I had to be at the ship long before they even opened it, so that I could walk around and get acclimated to the environment. And then we were on the ship at like noon, even though it wasn't leaving till 5, and so that I saw every nook and cranny of the ship. I asked questions, but I was doing that on purpose as an immersive type experience to kind of give myself the exposure so that I could do some of the things I wanted to do. I want to be able to travel with my friends and my family, but for a very long time I just would not even consider the option of like getting on a hotel on water and just being out there in the middle of nowhere. And now I've done it a few times and I've really enjoyed it. So I encourage people who have phobias to do the work, get into therapy, find someone that can help you do some exposure and walk through in a safe way, walk through learning how to deal with the distress that comes up inside of you when you encounter whatever your phobia is.
Yeah. Wow. Alice?
You covered it really well, Jacqui, and I started to get angry at God for you. Why do you have all these spider experiences? Give Jacqui a break, Lord.
I can see them in the dark.
Now.
I can see them in the dark, literally. I've been here and a spider has dropped down. It took everything in me to stay in my seat.
I'm feeling protective of you. I'm walking you out to your car. I'm going to scope it out before you get in. I just want to name another fear that is so common, which is the fear of having a serious medical illness and observing different signs or symptoms in your body and assuming that they mean the worst. And when those kind of fears impair a relationship, you might be withdrawing from people, feeling angry, misunderstood. Maybe you're missing work because of your fear. Your medical bills are mounting as you keep going back to have your doctor check you again and again. When your fear costs you too much or the people around you too much, get the help. We can help lower that fear.
It even costs businesses. There was one study that I heard about that they estimated anywhere from $800 to $900 million is lost on Friday the 13th because people don't want to leave their home. They don't want to do anything different than, but they're just afraid. They may not get out of bed. If you've got a fear, if you've got a phobia, let's talk about it right now. We're going to be here for 2 hours at 1-800-229-3000.
I was stuck. I was so stuck. 27 years married. My husband addicted to pornography for the majority of our marriage. I was very isolated and didn't really know which way to turn.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 7th to the 9th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
You guys helped me figure out what was going on.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
And for anybody who's fact-checking me, which I think Alice is doing right now, she's been on her phone since I mentioned this. But no, I found the statistics. According to the Stress Management Center and Phobia Institute, there's such a place, in Asheville, North Carolina, an estimated 17 to 21 million people in the United States are affected by a fear of Friday the 13th. Oh. Some people are so paralyzed by it, by fear, that they avoid their normal routines in doing business, taking flights, or even getting out of bed. It's been estimated that $800 or $900 million is lost in business on this day. That is crazy.
That is definitely... when you think about the impact of mental health and mental illness on our finances, on our economy, it just seems like we'd be doing more about it. When you think about what it's costing every day.
Right. Okay, let's go back to the phones now. The number again, 1-800-229-3000. Here's David in Pasadena, California, listening to us on KKLA. Hello, David. Thanks for calling in today.
Hello. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. How can we help you?
What is your name?
My name is Brian.
Brian?
Yes.
Okay. Brian, my difficulty is with physicians. I'm in assisted living, and they've diagnosed me with different physiological problems. I have obesity, so They assigned me to an endocrinologist to help control some of the chemicals that are making me fat. I have cardiac problems. I've been to the cardiologist 3 times, and I've been to the dentist. I had an $18,000 procedure done with my teeth, and I have partial and implants. And I also have glaucoma in both eyes. But my prayer and what I need help is to pray the right prayer to the Lord and ask Him, not in a childish or foolish way, to say to the Lord, how do I pray? Ask the Lord for your will to be done, and not, just some diagnosis or treatment that's not going to do me any good or will make me worse. So the Lord, how do I pray to the Lord to tell the Lord that I want Him to control my physiological, to heal me, and not necessarily be constantly diagnosed and treated by providers and doctors and nurses and caregivers.
What would you guys say?
My first thought, David, is that I wonder how often God has healed you or treated you through those doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals. Some of us pray our way through, and so sometimes that's where the healing has come from. But your prayer, I wonder what your prayer life is like. You're saying you're wanting to ask God, like, how do I pray so that my healing comes from and through you, and that I have confidence in that. And so I'm just curious, how do you pray? What's your prayer life like?
Well, I used to get down in high school, I would get down on my knees and pray verbally to the Lord. And then I stopped doing that and would pray silently in my heart and try to communicate with, and I still do that. My prayers, I believe God hears my prayers from my heart. I don't say the prayer verbally. Do you think we should pray verbally and to be heard better by Jesus?
I don't necessarily think you have to pray verbally for it to be better heard by Jesus, but I think that it's awesome for you to pray verbally so that it is heard by you. There is something going on in your own brain that needs that encouragement. It believes what we tell it, right? So when we pray and we say out loud that God is the creator of the universe and that Jesus is our Lord and Savior and that He's the ultimate healer, we hear that we're speaking life over ourselves, right? There's healing in the tongue, there's death and life in the tongue, and so you get to choose how you speak over yourself. And I would speak it out loud. I would proclaim it vocally. I would also write it if writing's not too much of a challenge for you. I know you said you have glaucoma in both eyes, so that might be difficult, but I would write it. Yeah, I've
definitely done that. I've definitely done that. Ask the Lord to be my Lord and my Savior.
Yeah.
When I was 8 years old, I guess, so I've been a Christian all my life, At times a better Christian, at times I've strayed off, but He's always brought me back,
Yeah, God's always God, no matter where we go and what we do.
Yeah, it's a good shepherd.
Yes.
That cares about that lost sheep,
Yep.
So I'm just wondering, I'm going to advance in this, it's going to keep, unless God intervenes, there's going to be complications of all these things, that's what the doctors are telling me. Until I get put out of assisted living into a hospital or maybe a convalescent home or nursing home, because I'm 70 years old, turning 71. And so that's what I need prayer about. The Lord would intervene with my life and not let these bad things happen to me later on in my life.
Yeah.
David,
because of these symptoms.
Are you alone in this immense amount of pain that you're going through? Do you have
Pretty
family?
Much alone, yeah. There's no one to talk to here.
Yeah,
they're all older than me. They're in their 80s and 90s. I'm only 70. So there's one other person that's my age, but she can't talk. She's very crippled in her mind. And she can't converse.
So it's
she doesn't know how to do that.
It's a lonely place there. It's hard to connect with these other people. Do you not have family that are active in your life?
Pardon me?
Do you not have active family members who are in your life, at least by communicating with you?
My family is still with me.
You do? Okay.
Some with me.
I ask David, because sometimes we fear we're not heard by God when other people are not hearing us, because God really does use people as intermediaries. And I want to tell you a little bit more about that when we come back.
Okay, David, stay on the phone. Don't hang up, and we'll continue our conversation. We also want to talk to everyone else who calls in at 1-800-229-3000, like Sharon, who's got a question about phobias. We'll get to you after we're done with David here on New Life Live, and we're waiting for you to call us at 1-800-229-3000.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to Intimacy and Marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is July 25th to the 27th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
And we were talking to David, who called in from L.A. County. David, thank you for holding through the break. Alice wanted to say something else before we go on.
Well, David, as we wait on God to answer our prayers, and his timing is so slow. I tell him that frequently. Lord, I don't get it. Why don't you hurry this up? But he does always have purpose in his pace. And so I want to give you a few things that you can do while you wait on God for your healing. If you don't know if he's hearing your prayer because you're not on your knees anymore and you're not saying it out loud, then sharing that prayer with other people is not a way to get it to God better, but it's a way for you to experience your prayer. Like Jacqui was saying, even just saying it out loud, but sharing it in community, like in your call with us. You were heard by 3 people, and I bet you felt a little bit more like maybe God heard me, maybe God is with me because of this mini community that you engaged in. And that's really what we all need when we're going through overwhelming problems like yours that you can't just fix right now. We need the comfort and the ears, the listening ears of people around us who love us. You also said, I've strayed in my life. I respect your humility because we all have strayed in our lives. And I wonder if you carry some guilt for how you strayed, or if you imagine, am I being punished with my medical problems for the ways that I've strayed? And a way we can handle that on our part is to make sure we confess how we strayed and check with the people that were affected by our straying to ask them, how did it affect you? Can I make it up to you? Can I make amends to you? And so, David, add those 2 actions to the good prayer life that you already have. And I just want you to know that in my own prayer life, there will be seasons where I kneel, seasons where I sing, seasons where I write. Sometimes it's just in my own head. It fluctuates. But asking God, how could I do this better? He usually does lead us towards answers when we ask that kind of humble question. Thank you for your call, David. We want to send you Healing is a Choice because it's also a very empowering book of what can I do to clean up my side of the street and have closer relationship with God and other people in my life.
All right, David, we're going to send you that book, so stay on hold so we can send you a copy of it in the mail. 1-800-229-3000 is our number, and now here is Sharon, who is in Washington, D.C., listening on WAVA. Hi there, Sharon. What prompted you to call in today?
Hello. Thank you for taking my call. I have an unusual phobia, I'm sure. It's something that many people may understand and may not understand. My phobia is that I used to help a family member all the time because this family member never could keep her house orderly and clean, and things would be everywhere. As soon as you open the door, you had to step over everything and get through this or that to get to the one room and this and that to get to the other room. And for years, I helped this family member. It seemed like for a month or two, it would stay great, and then it would go back to being just a mess. And so now that this family member has passed away, now, as some years later, a couple of years later, 3 years, I'm feeling the same thing in my own house. I'm feeling like I'm becoming this family member. I can't keep things together. I can't keep things organized. I got things everywhere. I can't find stuff. Stuff is piling up in my basement. I'm just having a rough time.
And it wasn't like this before at all?
No, no.
Sharon, as you're telling us, I can hear tears in your voice. This is really, I think it's frightening you, and it's distressing you, and it's not like your old self. So, of course, you're worried. How much is this all going to start to accumulate? Sharon, I imagine something else difficult has happened in your life since your family member passed away. Maybe it was your job full-time to caregive for her. Maybe it was something else, but there was an event that I believe happened that then led to this change in how you manage your house. Do you know what it was?
I don't know.
Okay.
But you're feeling out of control, I think, and powerless to change it. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Has this been going on since your family member passed?
Yes.
What was the relationship with the family member? How close were you?
Very, very close. Very close, and it was very hard on me when the family member passed away. It was very, very hard.
Do you feel like you're still in that grief process? Like it's still very, very hard?
Sometimes I do.
Yeah. Do you?
Sometimes I do, because I feel guilty that I didn't help her enough. Sometimes I feel like I could have did more.
Yeah. And I wonder if some of what's keeping you from being your old energetic self and being able to navigate housekeeping and there might even be other things that aren't going the way that they normally did. I wonder if that is because sometimes when we're grieving or we're depressed, we just lose energy. We become so fatigued. It's hard to focus. Sometimes we
very tired all the time. Yes, ma'am. I am very tired.
Yeah.
And I want to do things, but I just don't feel like doing it. And I get to the place where I just don't do it. I just don't do it. And then I have my husband, and I have, I don't have the help that I really would like to have. Too embarrassed to ask for help. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Have you ever talked with anyone about your grief, about your loss of that family member? Did you go to Grief Share or meet with a therapist at all?
No, never did that.
I think that you need to do some grief work. I think that what you're seeing is the grief. I think that grief is like the other side of the coin of love. And so you loved this person through caring for them and serving them and helping them in this way. And it almost seems like now part of your grief or part of how you're coping or how your mind is coping is allowing that space to now be created in your own space. It was a familiar space to go over to her place, care for her by cleaning it up, and now stuff is starting to build up around you too, which can, in some sense, be familiar, But now who will come to your aid? Who will come to your rescue and help you? And she's not, or whoever that person isn't around to be able to do that. It'd be nice for us to be able to help you connect with a therapist in your area that can come alongside you and help you walk through the grief and getting to a place where you start to feel pleasure again by doing the things you enjoy, where you start to have the energy and the ability to focus so that you can keep your home clean and organized. And just having someone to talk to about your needs, because I heard you say that you also feel embarrassed about asking for help.
Yes, ma'am.
Sharon, that holds most of us back for a while because it's shameful. I don't want anybody to know how dirty my house has gotten, how out of control parts of my life have become. And I want to grab you up and pull you out of that because there's such good help available to you. You don't have to stay stuck in this fear and this disorder that has come into your home. And I want you to know it's pretty natural for us human beings to replicate the pain we've seen or experienced. It's a strange way our brains seem to have of trying to work out what we lived through by replicating it in our lives. And so sometimes we see it when a child has been hurt by a parent and they hated the hurt that they received in their own home, but then they do it when they get older. Until we break that pattern by getting the help we're so embarrassed to ask for, we tend to stay stuck. The Bible tells us, Sharon, that we're to carry our own load. And I think you're a very responsible person who does carry your own load, and you're good at helping other people. But we're also supposed to bear each other's burdens. And we independent, hard workers, we're not good at letting others bear the burden for us because we're so used to doing it by ourselves. And so, Sharon, a big challenge for you will be deciding which is more worthwhile for me, to stay stuck in my fear and not be embarrassed so that other people don't know about it, or to push through my embarrassment and get help that can be really effective in breaking me out. It's like we have to pick our pain. And a lot of us stay in silence and isolation for a long time because we don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to be humiliated. I understand that. I want more for you than that, Sharon. How does my challenge to you affect you?
It sounds great.
Oh.
It sounds like something I needed to hear because I don't want to be stuck.
You know, I want to point out what just...
And I know that the Lord wouldn't have it to be this way. This is not the way He would have me to be, stuck and sad and down.
Sharon, there's a sudden infusion of strength in your voice.
Yes.
Because that's how grace works. It flows through other people, from God through people to us. Because you did the very thing you're embarrassed of. You called a national radio show and asked for help, girl. That was brave. So take the strength you've gotten from us and let us find you effective help in your area through our network of counselors.
People listening right now are thinking, was that the same person that was talking on the radio 3 minutes prior? Yes, it's the same person. They didn't switch, here, you take the phone. No, it was the same person. We provided the help that Sharon needed, and we want to help you too. So give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. If you have a fear of calling people on the phone, get rid of it. Call us today, 1-800-229-3000.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Sharon, we're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back. Thank you for calling us here today on New Life Live.
Can I just put a plug in too, though, for the Life Recovery Workbook for Grief, that's also accessible on our website.
Yes, indeed. Okay, back to the phones. Here is Mike in Dallas, who called 1-800-229-3000, which all of you can call that number for the next hour plus. Hi there, Mike.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing well. How can we help you today?
Thank you for taking my call. My question today is, I have an adult daughter that lives home with me and my wife, and we're supporting her because she's continuing her education, but sometimes she doesn't respect us. She says some pretty harsh words towards my wife and I, and I don't know how to deal with it. I mean, I know she has ADHD, but she's got to be accountable. I mean, I can't continue she's continuing her education, and we're supporting her for that, but sometimes she just takes her anger out on us and doesn't know how to control the anger. And she says some pretty harsh words towards my wife and myself.
Mike, that's such a painful situation when you're generously letting her stay in your home as an adult to support her education, and here she is mistreating you and your wife. Is that new behavior, or has this been a habit for her for many years?
It's been a habit for her for many years because, I mean, I put gas. She eats out every day. There's an allowance that I give her and transfer money, and, you know, she has a place to stay, and we pay for her education and, you know, even additional education. And sometimes if she doesn't get her way, she gets angry. Like, for example, I'll see some charges on my credit card. I said, well, you're not working, you know, stop charging. She'll go off tantrum, and then you know, I don't want to repeat what she says, but
how old is she again?
She's 26.
And when you mention your wife, is that her mom or no?
Yes, it is her mom.
Okay.
There's such ingratitude and sounds like angry entitlement on her part, and you even support her financially, and she takes advantage of it. Mike, a tough question for you. Tell me, did you and your wife ever have a season of verbally mistreating each other or her?
Not her, but I think my wife has always been she's kind of been verbally abused towards me in front of the kids. So I guess maybe she's emulated that behavior. I don't know.
And are the brothers and sisters also?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
So it does happen in the home. It's not just from your daughter, but it might be strongest from her, and you're feeling it so much because she's doing it the most. Would you tell us what kind of stand do you take against it? How do you respond to her when she mistreats you?
I just tell her she needs to respect me, and sometimes I just shut her off. I just walk away, ignore it, and I say, you need to respect me. I'm your father. Whether you agree with me or not, you live in this home. And then she goes saying some pretty harsh words that I don't want to repeat on the radio, but I just tend to walk away because I don't want to lose might cool say something that I might regret, or you know.
It's so hard to have adult children living with you, and they want to have their own life and be their own person, make all their own decisions, and tell you how grown they are, yet they're spending your money. It's just the life, right? I'm reading a book right now about the generations and our differences in the generations, and so that's coming up for me as I'm listening to you speak. And one of the things that I resonated with in the book, my husband and I have experienced, is we didn't want our kids to struggle, so we took the struggle out of their upbringing as much as possible, and in some ways stunted them. In some ways it wasn't a service to them. And so, you know, we, as Gen Xers, we worked. Most of us had some type of part-time job growing up, and then we didn't have our children do that. We wanted them to just focus on school or just focus on their sports. We wanted to make things easier for them. And now that they feel entitled to that ease, we feel disrespected. I think we believed kind of the pleaser mindset that if you are nice to other people, they will be nice to you. And so she should feel your generosity and be grateful and be respectful. But there's not been any training towards being respectful. If wife isn't respectful and if the other kids aren't respectful, she's going to continue to behave the way she behaves because that is the culture she's grown up in. And you can say, well, you have to respect me, I'm your dad, but she's not respecting you even though you are her dad. So she doesn't actually have to, because there's not a consequence for that. Nothing's going to happen. She's still going to have access to your money. She's still going to spend how she wants to spend, and when you tell her that it's wrong, she's going to get mad at you and make you feel like you're doing something wrong. Cut her off. Pay for school and make her get a job for going out to eat with her friends. Make her get a job for all of her makeup and the other fun things she wants to do. You can't have both. You can't be the so-called good guy and give her everything she wants and also teach her to respect you at this point, because she's already grown up being disrespectful to you.
But should that be an immediate cutoff or gradual? What would you say?
At this point, she's been running up the card, and when I tell her about it, she gets an attitude with me. It's immediate. I'm paying for school. You figure everything else out for yourself. And it doesn't have to be that way long. We can set some boundaries. We can put some parameters. We can say, you know, after 6 months, maybe we can revisit this, or you can pay back those charges, those extra charges that were above and beyond what I agreed to, and then we can revisit it. But she's taking advantage and will continue to take advantage because nobody stands up to her.
Yeah. Alice?
I'm going to offer a slight alternative, but it still combines well with what Jacqui said. I'm going to call you out, Mike. First, praising you that you practice self-control by walking away so that you don't give her mistreatment back, and I respect that you do that. Unfortunately, I think it has come across as passivity and even acceptance of her mistreatment, even though your message is the opposite. But your actions seem to say, you can walk all over me and my credit card, and I am going to keep letting you do it. I tell you not to, but I'm going to let you do it. So I want to suggest you take a humble leadership role, Mike, and try something out. Maybe you'll confess to your family, gather them together, and let them know, I haven't known how to handle angry words in our home. And I'm just realizing, I think I've gone about it wrong. So I might have enabled anger to live in our home in a way that it shouldn't. And I'm the leader of this family. I don't feel good when any of us mistreat each other. I'm going to get some help. I want anybody and everybody to come along with me, because I'm deciding I'm only going to share my home, my credit card, my ears with people who are willing to learn to treat me better. And I've been a part of this problem. So who's willing to come with me to therapy? It gives them like a one last ditch effort chance. See if they'll come. I'm suspecting they probably won't, because they already have such an attitude of entitlement. And so if they don't, then I suggest implementing, well, then I am only going to share these privileges with people that are treating me well. So this is going to end.
I think we should send Mike a copy of Doing Life with Your Adult Children.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to do that. Mike, stay on the phone. Thank you for calling us today from Dallas. And that book is also available on the newlife.com store. It is just about the end of the program, but we're going to be in the studio for another hour taking your calls at 1-800-229-3000. By the way, thank you for supporting us in multiple ways. You guys pray for us. You pray for our callers. You tell your friends about us, and you support us financially, which is great because right now we're in the middle of a matching gift challenge, and we are so close to reaching our goal of $500,000. You can make an impact today by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and making a donation over the phone, or you can text the word match to 28950 or visit our website, newlife.com. Got some questions for Alice and Jackie? Call us up, 1-800-229-3000.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.